please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic?
Last night, I ended what happened to be the longest streak that I've ever had of not taking a shower. About a month and a half.
Yes, we're going to be today covering Asmongold, because he got himself yesterday into some hot water, and we need to go through it, along with subsequent opinions and or fallout. Asmongold is a very well-known, very successful Twitch streamer. He is most notable for having an incredibly messy room, and for himself being very, very dirty. Now, he has logic behind the dirt. His logic is that after 10 days of not having a shower, the body will no longer hold on to additional filth, believing that the Nurgle's blessing plateaus after 10 days. I think you'll find the more you give to Grandfather Nurgle, the greater his boon to you. Public service announcement. For the average oik, 2 to 3 times a week is a recommended shower. If you have one every single day, unless you have a suitable regimen to protect your skin will dry out far too often. Insert obligatory, but what if you go to the gym every day? That's where the exceptions reside. Thank you for being that one pedantic, unnecessarily so prick. You're welcome. And yes, you're still a prick. On his streams, Asmongold is known for being unfiltered to an extent. Within Twitch's rules, that is, unfiltered. He will speak on any issue that he wants to speak on. He is unapologetically that way, which is an ironic term, unapologetic. We'll get to soon, yes, it is foreshadowing. One of these opinions has gotten Asmongold banned from Twitch, so it would be a good idea now to play some clips of that, offer some commentary perhaps, go through some tweets, and see what we think, whether the ban was justified or if Twitch is just showing a bias, which they are known for doing.
I'm able to dredge and delve into the depths of depravity.
If you want to consider a genocide as a systematic of a group of people, they have built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a
In the background, you'll notice Asmongold is on his own Reddit, which leads me to believe that this discussion comes from that subreddit, or Reddit, whatever it's called. I don't know how to use Reddit. You tell me in the comments and I'll happily ignore it. We have discovered on YouTube that it is impossible for me to make political content if it at any point champions, recommends, endorses a policy that is regarded as right-leaning. So I moved my politics streams to Rumble. That was a recent change. On Twitch, there are similar issues when it comes to what can and cannot be discussed. Not just on their platform, but also on places like Twitter. Not because of Twitter, but because Twitch look at what you do on social media, and they have it in their terms of service. We know that YouTube, while claiming to want to be unbiased, much like the BBC I guess, they're not. They hold a bias, and they also believe themselves the arbiter of truth. The same applies to Twitch. When it comes to discussion on faith, it becomes a very poisonous area. What I mean by that is, you're only allowed to dunk on 1 or 2 particular religious groups, depending on where you are in the world. Let's say you're a Muslim apostate, yeah? But you live in a Western nation, having escaped this. You're still not going to be given much of a platform by the likes of Twitch, because Islam and a few other religions are regarded as a protected class, something which I do not agree with. I think all criticism must be levied at everyone equally, hold everyone to the same standard. So is Asmongold right with what he said so far? That is where the problem arises, because on many of the tweets you have rated community notes, people giving what they believe to be truth over what is not truth. Gets quite convoluted, doesn't it? Let's continue with his clip though.
They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. They'd be doing the same thing. And how much did they kill? As many as they can.
It's interesting you mention this, Asmongold, because I was watching an episode of The West Wing recently, and Secret Service agent Ron Butterfield, and this is a long time ago, said, Muslim extremists don't get personal. They don't know your name, they don't care. They don't want one person, they want dozens or hundreds. That's why they don't use bullets, because killing one person is a waste of a bomb. This quote seems quite appropriate in the conversation I believe he's having concerning Palestine and Hamas, and it's somewhat surprising that it's still appropriate. when it comes to extremism. But then what is or is not extremism in the context of Palestine and Hamas? That's where the problem is. Because many have interpreted this as humanitarian, must protect the Palestinian people. But then how do you deal with Hamas? How do you protect the Palestinian people from Hamas? And from Israel at the same time, who are seeking retribution for Hamas, who are in Palestine. If I get into hot water because of this, do try to understand I'm not giving much in the way of an opinion, I'm just pointing at the fact that there are many gaps here, and understanding the problem from a Western lens may not be appropriate in the slightest to problems concerning the Middle East, because our solutions in the West are often interpreted by many in the East, I guess, as weak, feeble, fickle, brittle. Another big issue here is acknowledging whether or not those involved are extremist or not. So my quote from the West Wing earlier is still appropriate because it works within the realm of what Asmongold is saying. Whether it is correct overall, again, appears to be subjective.
They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons. But if they did, they'd be doing the same thing. That's it. Just takes enough. That's right. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways.
Okay, so I don't think it was the earlier remarks that sealed the deal, as it were, that obtained achievement unlock the punishment. The question is he right or not? If he is right, then why is he being dealt a consequence? If he is wrong, then is the consequence just? I have to say that because even on YouTube, I can't say which one is correct, and it isn't a grey area. One is correct. That is how sad a time we live in, that we cannot take stands on issues like this. I have often said that many religions from around the world are not necessarily compatible with the values for the country that they are going to. That doesn't mean it is impossible to integrate. It just risks creating communities that are separated. That in turn causes greater divide. If you want to create a melting pot of differing ideas, beliefs, values, the only way to do that is for everyone to be willing to engage on it. But there are many who do not want to. This leads to further divide within the countries where this melting pot may in fact exist. Now take values from the West, take those very liberal, progressive ideas, and take them to other nations that are not known for valuing human rights in any way. Take them to China, take them to Russia, take them to the Middle East. You will find you have to abide their culture, their rules, their laws. The same is not said the other way round as much. Now, I'm still not saying which one of the two is correct, but I am positing a belief that one might be more correct than the other.
It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them.
As is your right as the individual. Generally speaking, I care about humanity. But to do that, I employ the belief system of no lives matter. Because I can care on an equal level, that way I limit having to be involved in any of these pointlessly pedantic little groups that say, but if you support this, you must then be this. No. On the face of it, there is nothing wrong with what Asmongold said because he is right to exercise his freedom to speak. However, that freedom to speak comes with a consequence. No one is free of consequence. For that, we now go to the Twitters. Detective Seeds Platinums. I am no longer partnered with Starforge Systems PC. I have requested that my code be removed from usage after a year of partnership due to the comments made by Asmongold, who is one of the owners. I have Muslim friends from that region and I cannot represent that product after his comments. Many replies, respecting him for this comment. Jake Lucky. Dude could have played video games for the rest of his life and made millions, but instead wastes his time needing to share his opinion on every single world topic. Retweeting Hassanabi Productions, a meme account, with the clip that I went through earlier. Trench Dog, Barbaric. Included a clip from Hassan Piker. Let's go through that.
And you know what else is disgusting? That people in the West that enjoy more privileges and freedom than anywhere else in the world romanticize their behavior or their lifestyle as anything other than barbaric.
This is what people think you say about Israel? I know. I know.
The amusing thing about this video, and I'm inserting this because of copyright, is because they include what he actually says about Israel shortly after. I'm going to play that before we continue anyway.
The most animalistic, barbaric force on the planet as it stands.
Look at me. Look at how proper I am. Yes, I put a suit on so you don't think I'm an animal. But I am. I am a barbaric piece of...
That was already expected barbaric behavior from Israel. Regardless, it is brutal. It is barbaric. Certainly, even people in the Western world feel against this barbaric monstrosity of a apartheid regime.
I never really thought that they would be this barbaric. What a barbaric and completely and utterly psychotic thing to do.
Destiny, retweeting Hassan Kader, who had tweeted, got banned for tweeting this, with an image, I hope they commit Sudoku squad. Included images of Ethan Klein, Destiny, Bill Maher, and Asmongold. Destiny had said, who are you? Lol. Asmongold had put out an apology, which seemed a bit ironic, contradictory, that he said in the past he would never apologise for things. Looking back on it, I was way too much of an asshole about the Palestine thing, my bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed even if they do things or have views I find regressive. You guys deserve more than me saying stupid stuff like that, I'll do better. Reply from the quartering, that was quick. Now I mentioned the quartering's reply on purpose because he had originally called Asmongold based for his remarks. Drama alert, tweeted, Asmongold banned from Twitch. His alt account, Zakrar, is banned, not his main. The thing here is he can't livestream from his main account though because he'd be considered ban evasion. That is a risk I don't think he'd be willing to take. Dexter2, Asmongold's mainstreaming account, has been banned. Wait, is that the main one or is it Asmongold? I'm confused. Ridvan Aidmir. Yeah, I don't know who Asmongold is, but he's right. The Palestinians are not the victims. That faith is that word, here's the evidence, and they go off on this for a while. The thread is quite lengthy, and the points are really driven home. First reply, absolute Chad. Asmongold on the that word in Gaza, I don't give AF, they're terrible people, they come from an inferior culture. Perhaps shouldn't have led with inferior. Yeah, that didn't do any favours. Kirsch, I find this amusing, not just because people like Hassan are able to talk to terrorists, but because what he said is what the average normie thinks about the situation, but won't say out loud. I'm kind of surprised he said it, even. Whole situation is just fascinating to watch. Reply, I'm still trying to understand how saying I don't care is hate speech. And there's a point there. Some people really just don't care, and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, and the Hassan Kader guy from earlier, who had the image of Bill Maher, yeah, he's from Alabama. He was told he should be on a no-fly list. The Hassanabi Productions account was retweeted by Kira Won't Miss by saying calling anything inferior culture when you live like this is insane. Oh, and here's the tweet a day later, I guess, my apologies, from the quartering saying that Asmongold was based and he was going to get mobbed for his comments concerning the Palestine-Israel conflict. It's not an easy area to be in, is it? But it only took a day for Asmongold to go back on it. Hurt Copain. You can't my bad yourself out of being a apologist. Retweeted by Destiny. Why not? Haven't you guys been doing it when making constant excuses for Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis for months? Oh wait, never mind. You don't even say my bad. Just death to Israel and the Jews. Lamau. If you have an opinion on this subject that does not violate YouTube's terms of service, yes, we have to be a little careful here, let me know. Because I'd love to know what you all think. I'm intrigued to see how long his ban lasts. I have looked at Twitter's streamer bans account. There's no mention of it being lifted yet. I'm not surprised that Asmongold did apologise, not because I think he was in the wrong, but because he has to protect himself. He now knows where the line on Twitch is. So when they do unban him because he makes them money, he will have to adapt to changing his coverage of issues like that, unless he intends to go down the Hassan route of following the acceptable message of Twitch. who on the face of it now look like they're endorsing hate on Israel in favour of holding others responsible for their choices and actions. When you're a commentator on Twitch, it's a tricky area to navigate. It's tricky on YouTube as well because you get demonetized. It's not as tricky on Rumble, it's not as tricky on Odyssey, it's not as tricky on alternative platforms to Twitter. In fact, you can use Twitter and do it there as well. Now that you, Asmongold, by the way, have issued an apology, don't expect anyone to accept it. Expect it to be used against you by the very people that were calling you out, because there is no forgiveness in their hearts, which is ironic, especially when we're often told that what they are defending is considered peaceful by politicians.